Welcome back to the Conscious Cowboys podcast. How's everyone doing?
I'm great. And Madison, you look like it's the middle of summer.
Okay, such
You
a
look
compliment.
great. Yeah, Madison has had the opportunity to, like, on her lunch breaks, go sit outside and read books, and it's really paying off.
Okay,
You're all
thank you.
sun-kissed.
I do
Your skin's
feel
radiant.
pretty good.
Yeah,
Thanks.
it's a good look.
Thank you.
You should be proud.
I feel healthy.
That's good.
Oh man, that is good.
That's the baseline for everything else.
Yeah, it's very true. So today we have a fun one. I was actually laughing when I was watching our YouTube last week because in the beginning you're like, I think we have a fun episode planned today. And then at the end you're like, well, that was really fun. I was like, dude, at least you stayed true to the whole
I think
thing.
it is fun.
It is fun. That's why we do it.
Fun.
That's why we do it. Everything?
Not everything.
This is fun though. But today we're doing a spring cleaning episode because spring is about to happen. March 19th, I looked it up, which isn't like too soon, but like we've hit March.
I mean,
so
that's
it's
like
around the corner.
Yeah.
And we did this episode maybe last year, definitely the year before, but we just thought that it was necessary to declutter a little bit since spring represents like a new beginning. And why not? Since nature's doing it, we can reflect it. So here we are.
Mm-hmm. Thanks for a beautiful introduction.
Okay. All the compliments. Like, you look gorgeous. Your shirt, we love it. She got a new shirt.
I'm really a little bit worried about the old nips.
No, I don't
we'll
think you can't see anything.
It's not even like being, it's just, I think like more, I don't know. Moving on. For
people were like zooming in on YouTube. They're like, wait, can you see the outline?
You can zoom in on YouTube. That's crazy.
At least we get a view.
Yeah. Pay me, tip me.
Yeah, exactly.
What was I going to say about spring? Oh, I was going to say like, it's something that we all feel too. Like the first real sunny, warm day we have, we had it already. I know it's an ebb and a flow and it's going to get colder again also,
yes.
But so far we've already had one where I remember like the breeze was warmer.
Yes.
And I kind of looked around and I was like, it's happening.
Oh my God. You get like those butterflies in your stomach and you're like, holy shit.
And
like,
I think why is because it makes me think of like spring and summer is much warmer for us here. I mean, it's warmer everywhere, right?
Yes.
But it just like to me changes a lot about my mental health. And not that like once the warm weather hits, I'm like, oh, everything's fine. But it does help.
It lightens the load a little bit.
Waking up to a gloomy day is hard work.
It is. That's why we're lucky we live in California.
Yeah. But the spring cleaning isn't necessarily like, oh, empty out your cabinets and wipe them down and go through your wardrobe and throw away or give away anything that doesn't feel good anymore.
Mm-hmm.
While that is very much so involved, the way that when you pitched this to me, I thought of like mental health spring cleaning, spiritual spring cleaning, physical spring cleaning. What do we got to do?
Yeah, absolutely. It's just like represents spring to me anyway, is like representing making space in your life for something new or new beginnings, whatever that looks like.
When you pitch it that way, it gets my brain turning. So thanks.
Yeah, good.
I need that.
I like it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, do you want to go first?
On what I'm trying to clean out?
Sure. Or however you want to put it.
Well, okay. Yeah. So it's like less about what I want to clean out. It's just more so where my head is going when I think about what I want out of this coming, let's call it spring, summer, fall. Like I'm turning 30 over the summer and we have a trip. Well, we're trying to plan a trip to Yosemite. We talked about this on the last episode. We want to hike Half Dome. Mm-hmm. And right now my body doesn't necessarily feel like it's at a good enough place to do something like that. Even though I'm sure I could, I want to feel good when I'm doing it, not like I'm surviving my way through it.
Yeah.
Recently, my health hasn't been where I am used to, and I'm trying to figure that out. And like Madison and I have come up with ways for me to get back on track in that regard, like eating better, having more electrolytes in whatever I'm drinking, and also like just trying to de-stress a little bit. I think when your stress load on an emotional or mental level is high, it's hard for you to push yourself physically. Mm-hmm. That's not always the case. I know sometimes it's really easy to channel it into physical effort. But for me, when I'm feeling like burnt out, I don't feel like, let me go to the gym.
Yeah, if anything, it makes the fire within worse.
Yeah. I'm like, I'm burning alive.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
need
It
to
feels
come
like,
down out
yeah,
of this.
yeah. Like you're in pure survival mode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think those are the ways that I'm going to start approaching that, making space on a physical level to feel good enough to do that for my 30th. And I also like, that's such a big accomplishment for me, is, and like a life goal is to do Half Dome. When I'm doing it, I want it to be a really enjoyable and memorable experience in a positive way. I don't want to be like, that sucked. My legs were going numb. My vision was going black. Like, that was horrible.
Yeah.
That cannot happen.
But I mean, yeah, we definitely don't want that to happen. But then I would also say that I expect there, which I know you do too, but I expect there to be challenging moments. And I think whoever is with us on that hike, like that will make it memorable as well. You know, like we'll
Yeah.
all band together and be like, no, we fucking got this, dude. My legs are wobbly too. Like, let's go.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely don't be hard on yourself if you get to the hike and something like that happens and you're like, fuck, I'm out of shape. It's just
Yeah.
like, no, you're just having an off day.
Yeah.
But we're going to do a lot of training before then so that you feel really good.
Yeah. And that's another thing too, is like, if you've been listening, you've heard me say that I feel like I haven't been as committed to like myself. Like, that's kind of the theme that I've been really discovering, is I'm not making enough time for myself on like a mental level or a physical level. I really prioritize a lot of other things over those two. And I'm getting to the point where that just doesn't work.
It's not enough anymore.
It's not enough anymore. You're right. So it's really like your body sends you signals and you have to listen. And so I'm using this year as like as a way to channel the energy into, I want to feel good. I'm hitting 30. I'm going to do something really exciting. And let's make sure that we're taking the right steps to get there to feel good. You can't just like wake up and be like, okay, now I'm 30. I'm going to Half Dome. Let's do this.
Yeah.
You can't do that. You have
Right.
to prepare your body for something like that. So these next few months, because I'm turning 30 in August, so these next few months are really geared towards eating better, de-stressing, training physically and mentally for
Yeah, I think
that.
that this is also good. You know, if turning 30 like symbolizes a new decade, this is really good for you to bring like this sort of energy into your 30s. Like training not only for Half Dome, but for life.
Yeah. Well, I think about like, okay, in my 30s, that's definitely like the decade where I hope I can have kids.
Things are gonna happen.
But I want kids, and I want to be able to like head into that with a strong mind and a strong body that can withstand obviously some of the challenges that are going to come with that.
Yeah, it reminds me of something that I have on my list, which I definitely practice every single day. But in regard to you, is just like investing in yourself more. And I even take it on like the smallest level of like, if I want to go to a health food store and this piece of salmon is like pretty expensive per pound, but like I can afford that salmon, and I really feel like I need that salmon for many things, satisfaction, and also like the vitamins and minerals it will give me. So I'm going to buy the salmon. I'm not going to feel like bad about it. I'm not going to feel bad that I can go get a foot massage, you know? So like those little things I feel like are really helpful, and you nourishing yourself, same on my end too. Exercising, movement that your body likes, like inviting more of that energy in so that your output is even stronger.
Exactly. That's what I've noticed, is if I'm not taking care of myself in those very simple ways, what I'm able to give back to the world is not as good as what it could be. Right? Like I can be so inundated with like to-dos that if I don't take a minute to pause and take care of myself, then the way that I'm executing those to-dos is like I'm forgetful, or I don't want to say I'm half-assing it, but I'm like, oh shoot, I forgot that step of the process.
Yeah.
That can't happen. But if I had like taken better care of myself during the week, then maybe I would have been more on top of things.
Yeah. I would agree with that. It's like literally training for life.
Yeah. And maybe what it is too is I'm not trying to introduce more structure into my life, but in a sense it is. Because I think that we're very structured people, and sometimes that can go against us.
Yeah.
But in this instance, like that's kind of how I want to treat these next 8 months. No, last 6 months.
Yeah. We'll see what date we get for the permit. But yeah. Yes. And moving forward, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that also we do have structure, and obviously it's like, it's very necessary in this case for you.
Yeah.
Especially if I think about like eating and also a training schedule. So then also mentally you just feel like you're well prepared versus like, oh, well, I just went on a hike like once every 3 weeks. Like that's probably enough. Like, no, let's try to hike at least once or twice a week and they be significant.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's exciting.
I know. I'm really excited. That's like my physical one, I can say, but I want to hear a couple of yours before I continue because I feel like it's going to give me more
Some
fuel.
More, yeah. So one I put on my list, which I already said, is like invest in myself, but I put that at the top of my list because I knew that you needed that one. So I was like,
no, guys, listen, when she was like, when I go to the store, if I see like a nice piece of whatever, I'm not going to feel guilty about it. She was actually talking directly to me because we have this really nice market out here called Lazy Acres. It's like the sister of Bristol Farms, if you know what those are. And I'll like want some specialty things and I like get into my head where I can't justify it. It's not because I can't afford it. It's just because I'm like, that seems really expensive. And in reality, I'm not spending money on other things where I could totally justify spending a couple extra dollars on my groceries. Like that's truly the only thing I really spend money on these days is groceries. So why not?
Yeah.
What are you holding back for? If that would improve your physical health and your mental health.
And even just like your happiness for the next hour, I think
it's worth it.
In my head, that's worth it to me.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So, okay, invest in myself is at the top of my list. But second for me, which I think this like encompasses everything that we'll say in this podcast, is giving myself more space to just like be and become, I guess, the woman that I've like trained myself to be. Like I feel like oftentimes I don't give myself that space and then I keep running up against like barriers. I guess it's like spiritually maybe. But I don't know, I want to like welcome like all facets of myself and not hold anything back because I feel like a lot of times I do hold back for fear of I don't know what it is exactly, but I do and I don't want to do that anymore. And I think that that's like not like an easy switch to turn off, but I feel like just like welcoming all of myself to every situation is what I want to do moving forward.
Okay. Can I ask you to be a little bit more explicit because I like the idea of this, but I'm wondering if you could share a little bit more as to like what that actually means.
Well, I feel like I don't know like exactly. Like, I can't give you, like, an instance of what that means. I just feel like I've been holding myself back, maybe, in some regard to things, and I don't want to do that. Like, I'm not showing up as fully myself. And just, like, in life. Like, I don't have, like, oh, you know, last Saturday I wasn't myself. It's not, like, anything like that. I just feel like I want to, like, unleash myself onto the world, whatever that looks like. Like, I'm still figuring that out.
Okay.
And I think for me, maybe that just means just like going in my own direction, not with like disregard for the people around me, but just like doing things that are more like rooted in me and not worrying about other things.
I'm just trying to like get inside of your head right now. And not that you have to like keep cracking open. I'm just trying to analyze like what you're saying.
Yeah.
And understand like in what instances is she needing to unleash herself more? Is it like just being where you're like just going out and traveling and hanging out with new people and sharing your life online? Like what?
Yeah, I think maybe. I think that this is like such a new idea to me. Not that I've never thought of this before, but like in this moment, like I just decided this, you know? So it's elusive also to me because I don't know the action steps to take to get to whatever I'm trying to say.
Okay.
So I just have to figure it out.
Okay. Well, I'm excited if you get those steps in your head for you to share it with us because I'm like,
I think it'll just have to happen, honestly. And it's not that I'm like not my authentic self in almost every situation, but I do feel like sometimes I don't know, like I could be more myself, like fuller. I feel like sometimes I'm just not.
I wonder if this is coming from you not feeling aligned with like the opportunities that are available to you right now. So then you are choosing to stay home more often. And then that's making you feel like, oh, I'm not really like experiencing my life. Is this potentially part of it? Not to put words in your head.
Maybe, but I mean, maybe. I don't know.
I also can't help but wonder if like this thought was already in your head, this desire for, you know, let's use your words, unleashing yourself. But after reading this entire book series, like you have been so invested in this very exciting, amplified world that you're like craving a little bit more for your own life.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. And I think that's like why people seek out fantasy books in general. So yeah. And it also helps that there's like very strong female characters in the books. And so you're like, dude, I want to be like them in our world. So yeah, that is also could be contributing.
Yeah, I don't know. Again, not to like pick away at it, but now I'm curious.
No, I like to pick away at it because I also want to figure it out for myself. But I think that I'll know in the moment.
Cool.
Like when I decide things, I'm like, okay, here we go.
Yeah, I'm excited to see it. That's why I'm asking is not, I guess for my own understanding, but also so that I can help support you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think like this, I put it at the top of my list because everything else that I have to say like goes towards this one giant goal of mine.
You see my eyes watering?
Yeah.
It's because I think I've really boiled this down, guys, and my eyes water a lot. And I think it's because I experience like I hold a lot of tension in my jaw.
Like, do you clench?
No, I'm not. It's not my teeth. It's like literally, it's like a phantom squeeze is how I can describe it.
That's a good way.
And it doesn't feel great. And then sometimes it doesn't feel good at all. And then it makes my eyes water. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Anyways, told you the health really needs to get leveled up. But okay, this is exciting. Do you want to continue diving into more?
I mean, yes, but you can have a turn also.
Well,
I won't forget my train of thought.
I mean, I'm really interested in what you have to say right now.
Oh, well,
you don't have to continue. I can totally take the lead. But the only thing I can really think of for me is I've been very like indecisive for many, many years. And I've started taking steps towards, is it okay?
Yeah, I was just checking. So if anyone watches our YouTube, I remembered your thought. So if you forget it, I'll relay it back to you. But if anyone watches YouTube, you see like certain cuts sometimes because our camera shuts off at like 23 minutes.
Oh, okay.
And then we have to like go back and do this all over again. So I was checking the time.
Are we good?
And we're at like 17 minutes. So like just a warning that maybe in 5 minutes.
Okay.
Let's cut it.
Got it. Guys, it's all a learning curve. Until we have a production team, this is how it happens.
That's right. We'll have someone standing behind us just being like, 30-minute mark.
No, we won't even need to because it'll just be like the camera's already set and it's ready to swap out. Like it's all good.
Dude, just the sex appeal of that.
Woo! Okay, so I was saying that I've been indecisive for many years. And this past year, I've been really trying to lean into it and be like, what do you want? Like I, again, talked about this on last episode. So then this week I've been really thinking about what do I want? And for me, this spring cleaning is not living in the world of indecision anymore, being able to figure out what I want and then say it. And I think it's probably going to have a bit of a ripple effect through everyone around me because maybe everyone's not used to me like having the opinion. So now it's going to be like, oh shit, she's got one now.
Right.
Not that it's going to be like coming off bossy or anything like that, but I'm just like, I really am going to try to make more space for me to have a seat at the table.
Mm-hmm. I think you definitely do have a seat at the table. Like, I don't think you need to take that power away from you. Like, I know you have a seat, but like you do make your presence known. Mm-hmm. So like, even if you don't say what your decision is, I think I could also speak for Phil on this and myself is that we know what it is.
Yeah.
So like we cater to that. But so I don't know, maybe just in your outside life, you're also considering not being as indecisive.
Yeah. It's not just in these four walls. It's like, how can I I'm not a follower, but it's like, how can I assert a little bit more to get my point across without being perceived as controlling, bossy, that whole thing.
Yeah.
That's really, I don't know. I was trying to analyze myself and I'm like, do people sometimes perceive me that way because of how I said it, what I said, or is it just simply that happens whenever you like suggest something?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I know what you mean.
Like I've had this a handful of times and I'm like, this was a strong response.
Right.
Why?
I think like in the moment, just ask. Like, why was your response to that? Like, did I say this wrong? Like, was my tone bad? Was my tone coming off as bossy?
But then, okay, so then I think, does your tone have to always be soft and sweet, right?
I mean, we know our tone is not soft and sweet.
No, I don't think my tone has ever been soft and sweet. So
sometimes.
Well, that's what I'm confused about.
I think it's moment by moment.
You think it's moment by moment?
Yeah, I think like it depends on the person and what is happening in that moment.
Okay. Yeah.
Right?
Yes, I agree. And so I'm just trying to think going forward, that's going to be the best case scenario.
Yeah. And also, yeah, it's interesting because it's just like has to do with reading people as well, I guess.
Which I feel like I have a good read on.
Yeah.
But then
that's
sometimes.
Why I'm saying like moment to moment, shit changes. You know?
Like, whoa.
Unpredictable.
Woo.
Yeah. Okay. So indecision is out.
Indecision is bye-bye. We've got decisions. Yeah. We're able to advocate for ourselves. And when you said like, oh, well, Philip and I can tell. Mm-hmm. That's awesome. Thank you for knowing me so well that you can tell. But I
try for sure.
But I think it's also helpful if it's not like a guessing game, right? Like you don't want to be surrounded by people who like don't actually voice what their needs are. And you have to constantly guess. Like if that's how it goes with me, well, then that's got to change too. Mm-hmm. I don't want it to be like, what was her body language like? Like, no, you should be able to know because I've explicitly told you in a calm way. I have
problems with that too, dude. That
but that's what I need. Last weekend, I started stress vacuuming like hardcore. Like the whole house needed to get deep cleaned because I was so frantic.
All went quiet and the vacuum turned on.
And this household, by the way, is very loving and very kind. But like I had a moment where I was like, I just have to like keep my body busy right now because if it's not going to come out of my mouth, it needs to come out of my body somehow.
Yes.
So I started vacuuming and sweet baby Philip, he unplugs the vacuum on me and he's like,
like we got to talk about right now.
Let's go. Which is so helpful to train me.
I think that's an amazing response. Cause I was telling Tess and Phil, I was saying this to Phil directly, is that I admire that quality of his because I grew up in a household that didn't communicate like that. Like it was like, oh, you're in a bad mood. I'm just going to leave her be and see if she gets over it. Like, no, I'd rather someone come up to me and be like, are you okay? And if I say I'm fine, then still like prod a little bit. Like, do you want to talk about it or do you want me to come back in an hour? Mm-hmm. Like if I do raise kids, like that's how I want it to be. Yeah. Like, let's communicate, get this all on the table.
Well, and then when you're in your right mind, you think that that's how you're going to handle things.
Of course.
And both of us having studied communications, like with a college degree in it, you think, I know enough. And then you find yourself in like the most insane emotional state of your life where you're acting like a freak, being so inconsiderate and like reactive to everything around you. And you feel out of body. You can't even control what you're physically doing because you're just spiraling. It's not cool.
Yeah.
So that's out for the spring.
We'll try. At least we have supportive members in this household that will facilitate that change.
Yeah. And awareness of it too. Mm-hmm. That's something that we really establish in here is like we talk about like what we need and then we all hold each other accountable.
Yeah. That's pretty fucking awesome if you ask me. Like I am grateful for that like every day.
Mm-hmm. Me too. Okay, back to your list, please.
Okay, so I have to keep reminding myself this is like spring cleaning and like what we're bringing into this.
Oh my God, because I'm sitting here talking about what I'm doing wrong.
No. I think that's also really good too, because it's like when we're spring cleaning our house, we're getting rid of like clothing or material
You gotta
items.
get rid
So
of
you're
these
getting
old
rid of
thoughts and
indecisiveness.
patterns.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah, I think that this, for us anyway, is like spring cleaning is altering behaviors or patterns that we don't necessarily think benefit us. So yeah. Another one for me is taking more risks. And of course, my brain at first is like, hold up, like, let's make sure these are calculated risks, right? Which obviously, yeah, but like sometimes maybe they won't be. And the reason that I bring this up is because when I was listening back to our episode last week, is that was one of my regrets, was not taking more risks when I feel like I could have. Just for, I guess, for many reasons, just like for exhilaration or like strong feelings I want to feel, or for a story, or just something to add to my character overall.
And human experience.
Yeah.
Like,
so
you've only got so much time here, and we don't actually sadly know how much time.
Right.
So
right.
might as well go enjoy.
Yeah. And I want to take those risks, and I'll say this so everyone on the podcast and like my household people obviously know, but I want to be the one to decide what the risk looks like versus someone saying like, well, you should be doing this. You should be going out more. That's more risky, you know? I want to decide it for myself. So yeah.
Noted.
Yeah. You know, because sometimes I just feel like people think they know what is best for you, which I appreciate that, and I want advice like that, and I'll take it in. But sometimes I don't want to like immediately be like, okay, yeah, you're right. Like, fuck, I should be doing that. And then I do it, and I immediately am like, this was not in alignment with me. Like, why did I do this? To like appease people? I don't know. I don't know. So yeah, that's one of mine.
And I think it's helpful to hear like what the potential risks you could take are. Like, here's this opportunity.
No, that's what I'm saying is I want them to be presented to me all the time, but I want to stand strong in what my decision is versus like faltering at like the first, like, okay, well, they think I should do it. Like, they also know what's best for me. No. I think there's like a fine line that I could walk with that, you know, like sometimes, yeah, totally. Like, let's try this new thing, but also like, no, I don't need to do that. Like, that's not the risk I want to take tonight. So gonna chill.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know.
Fun.
Yeah.
So
I just like want to accept that it can look different all the time, whatever like that risk is for yourself. Because people can define it differently in all areas, I feel.
From what I'm gathering, it seems like you're just wanting to experience more of life, which makes sense.
And just different.
Yeah.
Like, I want different because I feel like even if I think about it in terms of like seasons of our lives or like seasons throughout the year. So like winter is a time to like recharge and like hibernate in a sense and like gather what you need to in order to reemerge like in the spring in your new beginning. And then it continues in summer, and then fall simmers down back to winter. So I feel like cyclically that's what's occurring. Even though last summer I feel like I was still in a literal winter, and then the winter continued all the way until this winter. And now I'm like, okay, like we've learned quite a lot. Let's go out into the world and see what we've got.
And you already are.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
To some degree.
No, of course, maybe not to the full extent of what you're craving or desiring, but you've started it. And I think that's always where people have the hardest time, is like getting the ball rolling, opening the door, however you want to visualize it. But it's like, you got to get going.
Yes.
So how are you going to get it going? You can't just like think about it. You have to start.
Yeah. Because I could think about it all day, and I still do think about stuff, but it's just like, how do I put that into action? So I don't know, because it's like, also there's a thing between like, sometimes I think about like, okay, am I like waiting for things to happen? Like, yes, I want to wait and be patient, but then I also have to go make things happen. So like, what does making things happen look like for myself?
Yeah, I know.
So
well, because
that's just
there is
like
an element of
a
like
lingering question.
Like, there's this idea that the things that are meant for you are going to come your way.
Yes.
But then there's also this idea of like, well, you have to be available for them.
Yeah. Like put things into motion. I'm like, okay,
so
I am putting things into motion, but like, is this the right motion? Like, am I going in the right direction?
Mm-hmm.
And to that I say, yes, I am, because this is just the path I'm on. So guess we're going this way.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, all of these answers are like very mysterious, but it's because I don't have like a clear example, I guess I could say.
No, but this episode and this topic helps me think further on, okay, well, what do I really want to hone in on then? Because I might not have the exact answer right now, but maybe in 2 days from now, this has been brewing in my head and I'm like, no, that's exactly.
Yeah, that's actually a good point to bring up, because then I also think when you're in a situation where these tools or these goals or however you want to say are helpful, then you can make your decision or whatever you need to, just like as a reminder of like, oh yeah, I want to take more risks, or I vowed to invest in myself more. I'm going to do this. This is the right direction.
Mm-hmm. It's crazy when you say it, then I'm like, now this is my to do. I'm like, oh, now I have to take more risks. Not because, right. But like when you hear someone say something, you're like, well, I guess
you're like, I could do that.
That's my cue yeah. as well. Maybe that's what I needed to hear today.
Yeah. I mean, hopefully, like for anyone listening, I hope that they're like, okay, damn, yeah, maybe that's what I'm missing.
Mm-hmm. Maybe we are your expanders.
Yeah, I would love that.
I know. That word being brought back to our attention was awesome. So thanks, Carissa. Oh my
God. Yeah. Thank you so much. When you sent that message and Tess read it to me, I was like, first off, we're expanders to you. Thank you. But I have not thought about that word in at least a year.
Maybe 2.
Yes, maybe 2 actually, honestly. Yeah, so it's special. If you don't know what that word is, look that shit up. It's pretty great.
And you'll know it when you find them. And you're like,
oh my God,
this
that's
is
one
insane.
Of them. Oh, love it.
Okay. I think that's all I have off the top of my head for ways that I can get shit going for spring and summer. Like, as you worded, coming out of this hibernation reflection period, what do I need going forward? How am I going to make my life better? What do I need to leave behind? Those are the things I'm going to be reflecting about in the next couple of days.
Yeah, same. Honestly, for a while. Because like I have one more on my list, even though this is like not exhaustive by any means, but this goes into the theme of like what I'm talking about is like leading with more curiosity. Like curiosity was my word for last year, but like we said in a few podcast episodes ago, like we carry all of our words with us. And I feel like I am a curious person anyway. Like I question how a lot of things are done in normal life just because I want to see if there are other ways. Like I believe in a lot of different routes to get to places, but I want to keep that curiosity moving forward because I also think that it makes life more exciting and like it gives me more of like that awe for life. And second is that I don't ever want to think that I have all the answers or I know how things are done or should be. Like I want to keep an open mind to like, well, maybe that could be a possibility. Like, let's go check that out. Okay, no, it's not. Okay, we're coming back. But I never want to be like, I don't know. Like, I don't want that sensation ruined ever. Like, I always want to lead with curiosity, not with like, oh, I know how this should be. I'm like, no, I'm literally 29 years old. How do you know? Mm-hmm. Like, some things, obviously, I know how to pay bills and stuff, but like,
that's not
I just want to keep the
here.
spark. Yeah. Like, always.
I believe that you do a good job of that already because you're pretty open-minded. I mean, there is an element to you where you know who you are and you know what you want. And there are times when I'm like, that feels like a closed off response to something. But then there are times when you completely shock me and I'm like, whoa, whoa, very nice.
Right.
So I think you'd have a good balance of it because you wouldn't want to be so curious and not rooted in self at all that like you just you're constantly going with the wind.
Go with the, yeah, no, that's not my vibe. Not at this current time anyway.
No, I don't ever really foresee it for you. But
I don't see that either. But yeah, I just want to lead with curiosity and like keep learning and keep trying different things, which again, like comes back to the welcoming like all of myself, like of whatever I'm becoming. So yeah, it's just like a very, like when I say that phrase, like becoming, it's like that is an action step in itself. Like I don't even need to put like a specific instance to that. It's just like, it's a feeling within that I feel.
Well, there's no instance to call out because you don't know what's coming your way.
Yeah. And also like a becoming is everything. Yeah. Like it's everything that happens in my life.
I had this thought just now that this episode is super like
philosophical.
Yeah. And everyone's like, wait, what are we talking about? Mm-hmm. But to me and you, it makes sense right now.
Yeah. And I think that people who need to hear it will probably make sense to them also. And if you hate it, then that's fine too. Then
see you next time.
Be seeing you. Yeah. When we have a clear topic.
I would like to address one thing. Mm-hmm. Is as the podcast grows, which it is, so thank you so much for supporting it.
Yeah.
That obviously opens you up to like different eyes and ears that don't align with you, and that's okay. I have never been interested in being everybody's cup of tea, or like, if everybody in the world agrees with you, then how?
Yeah, I don't know how.
How? And also, then is it that bland or that vanilla where
it's like agreeable upon everyone?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we obviously, like, you get not great response sometimes. And
so specifically, sometimes you get comments on your YouTube videos that are pretty fucking mean. And to that, what do we say?
I say, I'm going to delete your comment and I'm going to move on with my day, because it's not about like, oh, I don't want anybody else to see this. It's me showing whoever that is that like, that's not allowed around here. Just like if someone was in the room bullying someone, I'd be like, yo, you gotta go.
Get out. Yeah.
It's the same vibe for me. I'm not going to make space for you to be a fucking asshole.
Yeah. And also we want this community to be as supportive as possible, that we don't need anyone reading that. Not even ourselves. Like I don't need the reminder that there's this hate in the world, you know, like I already know that. And for someone to like literally come through our door and do that, no.
It's a no. So it's going to get shut down. And I think that's kind of how we're always going to handle it. There is always a moment of like, I want to respond to you right now and I want to lay into you and I want to react because that's my nature. I don't know if it's yours, but that's mine, where I'm just like, well, let me school you for a second. Yeah, like you think you're so smart and educated and you want to tell me what's value and what's not value. Well, everyone's value is subjective and, you know, it really depends on the day, but you know,
yes,
that's where I want to go with it, but it's not important to feed into that type of, that's a vortex to me.
Yes. And then it puts us in the mindset of that coward who just blindly commented on our page.
Yeah. So with that, I'm very aware of the fact that we are doing things publicly and that's going to happen. Mm-hmm. But I just wanted to say thanks for helping grow our podcast.
But we don't welcome any bullshit.
But if you're going to be an ass, you're going to get blocked. That's just the way it goes.
Yeah.
I don't need your view. I don't need your comment. I don't need any of it. We just need people who like it, to align with it, to move with it. And anything that doesn't.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye. Don't let the doorway hit you on the way out. Yeah, you know? Absolutely. Like that's a perfect place to end the episode. I think that gets the point across.
Yeah. So I think my message, just to close that little bit out, is just stay true to who you are, because you can't impress everybody and that's fine. And even if you walk delicately and you try to say things of value or importance, or you try to be entertaining, there's going to be people who don't like it, and that's okay.
Yeah.
So you're going to move on.
That's right.
And
this
so
pep talk is for us also.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm good at leaving it.
I'm good with
spring cleaning is happening for the foreseeable future. You guys hold us to it. Check in.
Yeah.
Be like, hey, Madison, what risks did you take this week?
Dude, you guys don't even have to hold me to it. I'm literally the most hard on myself out of anyone in the audience. So trust me. But if you did have those questions, I would obviously answer. Yeah.
You can hold me to it. Just be like, are you taking your electrolytes? And I'd be like, I haven't even ordered them.
Okay. well, fuck. All right.
But it's day one.
Yeah, that's true. It's an ebb and a flow, like we say, right?
Yeah. Well, thanks for your time and sharing your insights.
Same.
I think it's
I can't wait to
super
listen
helpful.
back to them because I always think it's very therapeutic to hear what we say. Because it's like I learned something new about myself.
You know what could be a fun activity for the listener? Is if you don't want to publish a podcast episode, I totally understand that. But maybe you can use like the voice notes feature of your phone if you want to hear your own voice back and tell yourself like, okay, so if we're answering what we want to spring clean and what we're trying to make space for, and you don't want to write it down because it's not your own voice, well, then record yourself saying it.
Yeah.
And listen back to it when you need it and be like, oh my God, that's me right there talking.
Yeah.
I better listen.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a really helpful tool. And then you have people who are like, yeah, but you ever recorded yourself and you hear your voice and you're just like, that's what I sound like? And to that I say, yeah, I do know that because the first 100 episodes that we did, every time I heard my voice back, I literally cringed.
No,
yeah,
that's sad.
And now I'm used to it because I'm like, well, that's me. You know?
The more
sometimes
you
I
listen
say stupid shit and I use a lot of curse words, but that's the way it goes over here, you know?
And to that, I'll say we likely all recorded ourselves singing at some point.
1,000%.
So you've already experienced the worst of it.
That was when I was like 10 and I would be left in the car.
It doesn't
matter.
matter.
My mom was like going to the post office and I'm like, you know what? I need to use her phone right now.
For 30 seconds?
Yeah, let me just record how I sound singing. And then I knew I would never be a singer.
If you've done that, you've already experienced like the most humiliation ever.
And you probably had your heart broken because you thought you were going to be a pop star. And then you did that. And it was just the most blinding light that you could have ever had shown in your eyes. I think I was probably like depressed for like a week after that.
And then I was like, hey, you know what?
I've got other strengths. I can draw.
I can't even be an artist. No, I can't even draw.
Well, I can draw and I'm not an artist. So it worked out that we got a podcast. It's all working out.
All right. Well,
okay.
Thanks, you guys. Love you all.
Thanks for listening. Do some spring cleaning yourself, you know.
Have a great week. And if you want to share what you're spring cleaning,
we would love to hear it. Honestly, I would love to hear other people's because it's, again, very therapeutic. And I learn a lot from other people's experiences.
It's also helpful to figure out, well, do I need that too?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Because usually, I do. Because we're all having this one huge collective human experience. And even though it looks different, a lot of shit's the same. So hit us up. Thanks for listening.
Bye, you guys.
Talk soon.